Hi everyone, welcome to your 20-minute stretch and rest with me, Ellen McKay. Today we're going to be talking about inversions. So if you've ever heard the word inversions before, or you've seen it in magazines or books or shows, most time it's pictured as things like handstand or headstand, where people are completely upside down, feet up towards the ceiling, head down towards the floor, and that is usually not a very accessible shape. So I wanted to talk about inversions with you today in a way more accessible way. First off, a lot of times inversions are about being upside down, so head below the heart. If you have any issues with that, for instance, if you're dealing with things like glaucoma, high blood pressure, those kinds of situations, as long as they're being treated, you're normally okay to do these situations. Always check with your doctor, of course. But if you're having some kind of spike or some kind of peak here or flare up, move through these things really cautiously, and I'll give options where your head doesn't go below the heart. Also, if you're dealing with any kind of issues with vertigo, again, kind of going upside down, not always feels great, right? So I'm going to give you some different variations that you can do to have that similar feeling and similar benefits without completely doing that upside down shape. You can definitely practice with us in a chair today. We'll kind of be moving from chair to mat, so we'll do some standing positions for sure that you can do from a chair, and then we'll be doing some mat work as well that you could practice from a bed if that's more accessible to you, or a couch, someplace that you can lie down so we can raise the feet up a little bit. Okay, so let's get started. I've got a couple props here with me. You don't need these specific props, but something kind of helpful. So I have a block just to kind of give me to raise the floor up or raise the chair up a little bit closer to me if you need it. So things like a firm pillow can really work well. If you have maybe a few towels that you can kind of fold up a little bit more firmly. So we want it to be more firm, not as cushy. We want it to actually be able to support things, not just kind of be a softer place to land. And then I also have a firm bolster. So this one's definitely more firm than some of my other bolsters or props. Again, we're going to be using it for support. So actual support, not just kind of like a comfy blanket to wrap around. So folding up a few kind of more firmer blankets, or if you have some firm pillows, those would be really great. Firm towels even, that would be good too. So we want support, especially for these inversions. So let's get started in a more gentle inversion. I'm going to grab my chair too so you can see how to practice this in a chair option. But we're going to start in child's pose. So if you feel completely okay coming down to the mat or down to the floor, you can do so. Bringing the knees down to the mat, sitting the hips back towards the heels, and maybe the forehead comes to the block. So you can change that block up however you want. If you're okay coming all the way to the floor to start out, great. If that shape just is not working for you in this moment, we're kind of just getting started too. So you can come seated. I've got a bolster here. And you're just going to lean forward over that bolster. So again, head can come to the hands. You can kind of stack your hands up like this. Just kind of getting a bit of a forward fold. If you want to go a little bit farther, you can fold farther down. Again, maybe you take your hands underneath the head so the head can rest. So let's take a few breaths there in that inversion option, whatever it is. We just want to have something kind of on the forehead. So that's where we're having that support. Support is on the forehead, wherever you are. And we'll find some breath. Good. Slow inhales and exhales. Kind of starting to feel that calming response from the body as you take those deeper breaths. Nice. Good. And these inversions, we'll be doing a lot of forward folding. So forward folding in our yoga practice has a lot to do with kind of what can we let go of? How can we allow ourselves to feel supported in this forward fold? Whether that's tension in certain areas kind of holding us back, or maybe it's emotional. How can we allow ourselves to let go here and feel supported? Sometimes that can be a challenging shift, especially as caregivers, as we're the ones always supporting. Sometimes it's not as easy as for us to receive support. So taking about 5 more breaths wherever you are, feeling that support of whatever props you're using. So whether that's bolster, mat, floor, hands, block. Good, couple more breaths. Nice. Now, if you are in your child's pose down on the floor, slowly begin to move to your downward facing dog. So tucking the toes and lifting the hips, coming into this kind of V shape here. If you're in a chair and you feel like it would be okay to make a similar shape, you can bring your hands to the chair. Make sure the chair isn't on a slippery surface. And you're going to make a similar shape. So my head is a little bit below my heart, not much. Hips are reaching back, arms are reaching forward. If that feels like a little bit much for issues like vertigo or anything like that, hands can come to the wall, keeping the head above the heart, but still making it similar shape. So feeling those heels reach down to the floor, those hips reach back, arms reach forward. And we'll take about 3 more breaths in whatever shape you're in. Again, kind of feeling that length in the body. So we're feeling those legs long, arms long, full expansive breath. Good, 1 more round. Nice. And then we'll all come to meet in standing. So finding your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Let's roll the shoulders up and back a few times. Good. Maybe even giving the hands and arms a little shake, shaking things out. Good. Wonderful. So let's connect into that intuition. Hands are going to start in the belly. Connecting physically to the physical body. Good. And then bring the hands maybe up to that heart center or the center of the chest, connecting into the emotions. Noticing how you're feeling here. And then maybe bringing 1 or 2 fingers to the center of the forehead, kind of right between the eyebrows. And connecting into that deeper knowing. Good. And then release the hand and roll the shoulders up and back. Great. We'll move through again some forward folding. So be conscious if that head below the heart situation doesn't quite feel right for you today. I'm going to give you some different options so you get a similar feel, but maybe not as intense. So we're going to start with the feet wide. And if you're using your chair, great. Have your chair out in front. I'll show you an option in just a moment. If it feels okay to fold all the way forward, maybe you've got a block nearby or you have your bolster. Okay, I'm going to bring my block out in front of me as I fold forward. So hands come to my hips, lift up really tall, start to tilt forward. And maybe the hands just kind of rest on the block. We want the head to be a little heavy. If it feels okay, you can continue to bend forward. Maybe eventually the head rests on the blocks, or maybe you take the hands and kind of stack them up like fists, and the forehead rests on the hands. So again, we want a little support underneath the forehead. If you can fold really, really far forward, maybe the block eventually comes underneath the head. So any of those options are great. If you're using a chair here, Maybe the back of the chair is more towards you and you're bringing your forehead to the back of the chair. Maybe it feels okay to go a little bit farther and you can fold more towards the seat of the chair. Good. If folding forward doesn't feel great for you right now, take those hands, stack them up, forehead on the chair. And kind of depending on your height, this will probably have the head higher than the heart. But you're still getting a bit of that forward folding feel. So let's take about 5 more breaths wherever you are. Allowing that forehead to feel completely supported here. Knees are slightly bent. Good. If you're in that standing forward fold, bend the knees, hands come to thighs or whatever you're using for support, and slowly begin to rise back up, coming all the way to stand. Great. Let's slowly walk those feet back into center, finding your Tadasana again. Maybe rolling those shoulders up and back. Good job. Balancing is also a really great way to connect to your intuition, kind of really bringing you right here to this moment, this space, this breath. So let's find some balance. Feel free to always use a chair or a wall. Let's come into our balancing star. So weight's going to shift over to the right foot, left toes can touch. Maybe they reach a little farther out. You can even take the left foot off the mat. Arms are going to go wide, or maybe you've got that support here. Good. Feel like you're reaching out in all directions. So heel to head, hand to hand. Good. One more breath. Slowly release it back down. Maybe again, roll those shoulders up and back a couple times. Good. We'll shift it over to the other side. Take it into that left foot. Right toes can touch. Arms go wide. Maybe that right foot lifts. Maybe use the wall or a chair. Nice. 2 more breaths here. You're doing great. Very good. Slowly releasing down. Okay, so we're going to finish up. I know this class has gone by really fast, but I want to end up in kind of a more restorative inversion, which is any variation of legs up the wall. So I'll kind of start in the easiest, most accessible option, and then we'll kind of go farther if you feel like you want to. So most accessible would be lying on a bed. That way you don't have to come down to the floor. And taking maybe a pillow or a bolster if you have it underneath the legs. So that means you're kind of lying flat and the bolster would be underneath the legs. So legs are a little bit higher. If you don't feel comfortable bringing the head all the way down to the mat, again, if it's head and heart issue, then take the head and keep it a little elevated. So maybe that means putting a pillow underneath the head. Okay. It can be something as easy as this on a bed, usually much easier to access than coming down to the floor. If coming down to the floor feels okay for you, maybe finding that chair and bringing the chair underneath the legs. And if you already have a version of legs up the wall, if you know what that is and you just want to kind of go into it, feel free. We're going to take a few minutes there. If you've got a chair, feel free to come on down to your mat or wherever it is you're lying down. Get kind of as close to the chair as you can and let the feet come up to the chair. Same option if you want a pillow underneath the head to kind of elevate the head just a little bit. That's totally fine. We're just trying to get the feet a little higher than the heart. So just kind of figure out what works best for you. And then finally, if you want to use the wall, you're going to scoot up as close to the wall as you can. So sometimes it helps to kind of scoot up sideways. Scooting, okay? And then you're going to lean back and bring your feet up the wall. So easier said than done sometimes. You can kind of scoot in closer if you want, but you do not have to be super close to the wall. You don't have to be touching the wall. And then just find a shape of the legs that feels good. So maybe it's legs are straight, maybe they're a little wider, maybe even the knees are bent, maybe soles of the feet are together. Whatever shape feels great, find your way there. So that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for a shape that has a bit of an inversion in it that feels really, really comfortable. So feet are a little bit higher than the heart, maybe. If you have to lift the head up, fine. Do whatever feels right for you. So settling into that shape. Good. Making sure this feels really comfortable, adjusting and shifting the props as you need to. And then starting to allow the body to relax. So maybe feeling the muscles in the face relax here, forehead, cheeks, jaw. Shoulders, arms and hands. Chest, belly and back. Hips, legs and feet. Inversions are so great for the body. They're calming for the nervous system. They're really great for circulation, lymphatic drainage, just kind of helping your body work with gravity here to find a little balance to your system, especially if you're sitting or standing a lot during the day. And these restorative inversions are a really great way to transition to sleep. So if you're having trouble falling asleep at night, or if you're waking up in the middle of the night, this can be a nice way to just kind of transition back to that place of calm and quiet. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. And maybe this week, take this option of restorative inversion in the evening time if you can, maybe after dinner, just kind of a gentle moment of rest. Maybe put on some of your favorite music or just have some quiet and allow your body to rest here, letting gravity do all the work. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.